Hello and welcome to your Health Chat. This is a program that looks at various health matters and other related issues. And so today we are looking at the cholera situation with the role of the artist. What is it that they're doing and putting in this fight? To help me look at this subject, I have on my immediate right Maiko Zulu, who at least help us to discuss this issue. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Twalumba, Twasanta, Zikomo, Luitumezi, for having me here on this very, very important program, Faith.
Thank you so very much. And on my far right, I have Maureen Lupo Lilanda. Welcome to our program.
Thank you, Faith. Thanks for hosting us.
All right. I know for sure that music has its own way in which it influences, the public and just the general populace. Maybe I can start with Michael. What is music?
I think a lot of us listen to music and we do not, and some of us are musicians, we do not know what music is. But in a literal explanation, music is simply an organization of noises and silences. You put them together and you create melody. And in Zambian context, I think we enjoy to listen to a lot of genres of music. Genres are the types of music. Like I do reggae, Antimo, does jazz, somebody else does Kalindula. So these become like what describe our music taste as we going forward. So in a nutshell, that's what I would describe music to be. It could be just melody, it could be accompanied by instrumentation, so in short, that is what I would describe music as.
Okay, a way to read.
I think he's described it. It's really just sounds and silences put in an organized way depending on the person who's creating it, because what might sound right to me might not sound to him. So it's music and silence organized to make something that is pleasing to the ear and to the soul.
Great. We are looking at the role of artists in the fight, against cholera now. How would you describe an epidemic in your own understanding?
Oh, it's in a nutshell, in a layman's language, an epidemic is a disease that's sort of going out of control, affecting a lot of people. And I think that's what we are facing with cholera right now. So in a nutshell, that's what it would be.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Now we are looking at, society, and this disease has claimed so many lives. How would you put it, like in your own words, Michael?
Well, for me, it's very alarming, that as a collective, as a country, we've reached a point where we have to battle an epidemic in the name of cholera. And this has been for so many times. I think every successive government has had a share. So apparently, we have some music that even talks about cholera. One of my songs is a song that challenges, because usually I like to challenge authorities, governments, but this song particularly challenges us, the communities, because cholera is not, first of all, it's not a political issue, it's not a religious issue, it's not, it does not segregate. So it's something that we need to, first of all, accept that we have in our midst today. It's out of control, and the onus basically must come back to us as society. If I create garbage, Faith, as an individual, not as a community, first of all, just as an individual, not even as my family, if I have a candy, sweet, nagula sweet parod nachosa kapepa kaji, I throw it. That little thing, the next person will do that. The next person will do that. And in no time you'll find that a whole drainage has been blocked, maybe even just by cigarette butts, the kamaches you leave when you smoke your cigarette, those, you know, all that. So it's the little things that we do, you know, on a day-to-day basis. We get used to them. You are driving, you were having a banana, you just throw it.
Asa kona banana, it will rot, it will
Yes,
go back into the
you know,
but it will be plastic.
with plastic, you know. So it begins with all of us. What are our attitudes, first of all, over a personal garbage management, you know, at a very, very personal level? And that should multiply now to our children, you know, our families, our schools, you know. So the onus starts with the basic communities, the families.
Well explained. I like the fact that you've drawn it back to an individual to start with. Maureen, you've been in this industry for quite some time, 40 years or so. Michael here about 30, 35, somewhere there.
She's the godmother.
The godmother in this industry. But now, how do you come in as artists to see to it that we help, more especially in this scenario where we are having this cholera situation currently?
Faith, before we are artists, we are people.
Exactly.
We are people and we're part of communities, starting from the household, as Michael has rightly said. So even before we are artists, within our communities, we need to talk about cleanliness. Pantu cholera is equal to ubusali. You know, yes, we will talk about a compounded situation where there are unplanned settlements and there are shallow wells and all. That's something else civic. But when we come to the household, it's, as he said, it's about us being clean. You know, I think as artists in our own spaces, we need to I talk to my workers, I talk to my children, I talk to my grandchildren about keeping oneself clean in terms of the body, in terms of your surroundings, in terms of the community as a whole. With the artists, for a long time immemorial, we had entertainers, even with the chiefs and the kings and all that. And we are the message carriers. We are the reflection of community. It's our responsibilities as artists to talk about these things and try and influence behavioral change. If we have not been taught by our parents in our homes, we will come in as artists to say, you know what, maybe your mother didn't tell you to say, wash your hands after using the, you know, we are coming to tell you to say, wash this, because if you do not wash your hands, these are the consequences as artists. There's now a term, you know, entertainment has evolved, and now entertainers, artists are also being called influencers. Simply because we do influence the communities, because people will listen to our voices. And it's very important that we carry a positive, as much as we are in the pandemic, there are solutions, some that we can take care of, some are bigger than us. It's now for local council and government to take up, but do not throw the paper. When you're done eating that kabans. For MG bin, you know, we see what happens at Simpson Building with the this man, Simon. Yes, he is constantly talking about ubusali and trying to be clean. It starts with our persona. You know, cholera is centered to Papusali, Balunshi. Balunshi won't come where there's cleanliness. No, but you know, plus, but you know, modernization. To diaper, diaper, to rapos. Woman angachta, you know, alamfia, pachishala. There's no way we're keeping those things, or there's no way we're covering them. Cholera mumayanda. You are going to relieve yourself, you're not washing your hands. It's important because we must understand what cholera is about. So the messages we are taking across as artists is explaining from the fundamental to say, cholera inishi. Once they get to understand what it is, because the 5-second rule, the gem doesn't even need 5 seconds. That 1 second. So it's very important that the messages that we're taking to the public, because we are that influential, should be positive, should be to the point, should be truthful, and hopefully behavioral change.
Great. I know for sure that I'll come to that point of behavioral change and the part which you play as artists. And you've rightly talked of time immemorial. You know, music have been used as a medium of communication. But Michael, how much are we doing, you know, as artists in seeing to it that we are helping our communities in addressing these issues?
Well, I think you have sort of given us a knockout punch. I must be very open about this. I think as artists, we need to do a bit more in as far as these social issues are concerned. Yes, you know, we have the voice, you know, but it's pointless to have a voice which does not reach out. You know, it's very simple. Auntie Mo rightly said it, that artists are now called influencers. If you see the sagging, the jeans coming up to here, it's all because one artist, you know, decided to come out of the house like that. You know, if you see ripped
Maybe by
jeans,
accident.
you know, yeah, you know. So as we are speaking, I know some young ladies are watching Auntie Mo and saying, I want that hair, you know. So it's just right that artists take up this role of being kings and queens and being leaders, because artists are leaders by nature. You know, it's a God-given leadership, which sometimes we tend to not really appreciate, or maybe we don't know we have it. But believe me, when one artist speaks, 2-3 voices will listen, and so we have a role. It's a part of. It should be part of our social corporate responsibility to give back. If we are in a pandemic like this, believe me, the concerts will be cancelled. Our fans are ill. You know, we have funerals. You know, so it's gonna kill the industry. We need everybody to be healthy, and you know, arts in the sort of the luxury kind of sector where you know people have to be healthy. Yeah, you need to be in a jovial mood. You need to be okay, you know, for you to even decide to go and watch an artist.
Exactly.
You know, so we really depend on a society that is healthy, a society that is responsible, and a society that, you know, realizes that it's not up to the next person. And I think Auntie Mo also elaborated on that one. You know, she spoke about Simon Mwewa, who is doing a very good job, and we've emulated him. You know, I stay next to a college of nursing, you know, and in the beginning, you know, we had a problem where, because I run a small tuck shop, and, you know, our student nurses, our student doctors would be throwing litter. And I say, no, you should be the first one to teach us. And so today I can challenge anyone to get to that little place. I think in our confine you will not see a single paper. And the students themselves have understood that in this environment, you know, I need to, you know, look out. Otherwise, I ask them politely, please, you left something, pick it. There's a bin over there, throw it in the bin. You know, so those are the attitudes that, you know, we need to inculcate as a society.
Great. Auntie Maureen, your take?
On what was the question? Sorry.
Yeah. What are we doing as artists?
No, there's a lot. I've seen quite a number of artists have even churned out some music. Some of us are going out into communities giving talks on being clean, cholera, explaining what it is. And then this new phenomenon of being an influencer, people are using their pages or talking about the subject, how it's prevented, how, you know, you look after yourselves. There's a lot that the artists are doing. There's a lot.
That is great.
But also, if I may chip in,
Yes.
I think the corporate world can take advantage of the artists because, you know, sometimes artists just need a little support.
Exactly.
You know, we are so proud sometimes. Some artists won't jump on a bus, yet he only has 2 kwacha. But he says, no, I'm this name, so sninga kwe the bus. You know, so they won't show up. You know, so sometimes those that have the capital reach out to the artists, you know, and, you know, you'll be surprised how they'll get on the bandwagon and, you know, begin to disseminate the information.
Rightfully so, Michael. I think this this fight is collective.
Yeah.
You know, so if people can get together, one, you walk far, two, one, you walk along, one, you walk far, two, you can do so much more.
Yeah.
So if we put our efforts together, you know, the sky is the limit.
Yeah. For sure, you've rightly put it, the collaboration is actually needed because this is all about a multi-sectoral approach that we need, and so equally your part is very, very important. And so we are looking at the role of the artist in fighting the cholera situation. Let's take a break.
Ushe cholera chinshi. Cholera bulwele bwa kupolomia. Omuntu ukwete cholera alapolomia sana eyo n'okuluka. Obusali buba obwamenshi n'okubutuluka ng'omu basukire omupunga. Omulwele wa cholera takwata amenshi mu mubiri pamulandu wa kuluka ero n'okupolomia. Omulwele wa cholera kuti afa munsa 12 na nguntile 12 hours nga tapeerwa omuti uwafikapo. Usho omuntu kuti akwata shani cholera. Okunwa amenshi ayabula okuwamya nangu ayafiko. Okulya ifya kulya n'emino iyalamba nangu mufipe ifya bula okusamfya n'amenshi ayasuma. Okulya ifya kulya ifyo basunga okwabula okufimbapo ifya kutira na balunshi baleikalapo. Okulya ifya kulya ifya shelepo ifya talala ifya kutira tabafisungire bwino nakalya iyo. Okulya ifya kulya ifyo bashitisha mu misebo. Okulya ifisabo elyo n'omusalo ifya bula okusamfya. Kuti twayichingirira shani ku bulwele bwa cholera. Wamyeni amenshi yakunwa okupitira mu kuyipika nangu okubika mu chlorine. Sambeni kuminwa na sopo ilo na amenshi ayasuma panuma ya kubonfya echimbusu. Kafyeniko ifyakulya ilyo tamulalia. Fimbeni pa fyakulya fyonse pakuti balunshi tabale ikalapo. Mwilalia ifyakulya fisangwa mu misebo. Bonfyeni echimbusu inshita yonse. Mwila bonfya ifikunkubiti nangu ifupepala pakuposa ubusali. Shiningisha inokutila ubusali bonse bwaposwa mu chimbusu. Sungeni chimbusu ichabusaka n'okufimbapo inshita yonse. Iyimbira abamireterako chipa nichimona pabumi.
Hello and welcome back. We are looking at the role of artists in fighting cholera. With me I have Michael Zulu and Maureen Nilanda, who are helping us to just have an interaction on this subject. And now I'm looking at, there's so many years that you've been in this industry, you know, you and Michael. And I know for sure that one of the issues that is making our country even ravage in this kind of situations and pandemics is because of behavioral change. And you have a big role to play as artists. What is your weight to that?
I've always believed change should start, or any effective movement should start with the mindset when it's young. It's very difficult to change my views where I am. I mean, I'm almost 60. And you come and tell me to say, no, actually, you shouldn't be eating with your right hand, you should be eating with your left. First of all, you must convince me why I should change. But imagine bringing up a child in the way that you want them. They know that after using the toilet, they have to wash hands. They know that after eating a biscuit, the wrapper should be thrown away. We've been to societies where it's a norm. Switzerland, Japan, it's a norm. You know, you will find them cleaning up. Wasn't it the last African Cup or the World Cup where the Japanese were? Yes. Because it's their way of life, because that's what they're taught from when they are young. I think we miss it when we do not. But we know Fueba Filika. Being naughty, even if the child is, you know, he will brandish a knife. Doesn't that meme? But on a serious note, that's where it starts from, so that they should not even be behavioral change. They should be brought up to know this is the right way of doing things. We are tackling the problem backwards, you know. So I think going forward, yes, we try and change the behavior now with the adults that we have now, but I think efforts should be made even in schools. You know, there should be deliberate programs to teach children once they're from nursery, grade 1, that should be part of us. I think, to be honest, I think when we were growing up in the 70s, in the schools, 60s, certain things were taught to us that have not departed from our our heads, you know, and it's stuck with us. Whereas you're telling someone now, they're looking at you and like, ingaba, ukufikosha. You know, whereas no, it should be a norm. Covering food should be a norm. Washing hands should be a norm. Washing your body should be a norm. Litter should be in the bin. Why should you be questioning? You know? So for me, I think we need to start bringing up the children in the way we need them to think. You know, and I keep on saying the problem is also bigger than the household. What are the civic leaders also doing about these settlements? And because part of the problem is not having proper sanitary services, like, you know, shallow pit latrines that are near running water. So even that, and that's why we're saying this fight is collaborative. So we might want to effect behavioral change, but also the sources, the society must also, the public, the civic leaders should also help us in effecting that change.
Okay. Michael, behavioral change amongst our people, amongst the public. Your take?
Faith, without sounding offensive, yes, we have a pandemic in the name of cholera,
Yes.
but I think we have a worse pandemic in terms of our mindsets as a society. That is where the pandemic lies, and it's been, you know, ignored for, you know. That is the pandemic. Yes. Our thinking, you know, our little attitudes that I spoke about earlier. Auntie Moore brought about a very cardinal issue of settlements, and I want to connect that to urbanization. I think when I don't know whether it's Honorable Masebo who advised that, you know, stay in the villages, you know. Yes, you may it may sound offensive to some people, but I think if you notice, you know, the basic village setup, you know, does not require the council, for example, to come and pick your garbage. You know, it does not require a vaccine from Ministry of Health, you know, for cholera, you know, because the foundations have been laid. That's how I was raised. And even today in my community, whether I'm in the city or in our rural setup, my neighbors literally watch because I sweep. I get a broom and sweep, you know, because that is what I was taught. I will clean the toilet, you know. Yeah, everybody who uses a toilet must be able to know how to clean one. That is the basic, you know. If you remember the story of our founding father, he was traveling Zambia Airways, and he goes to the latrine and finds it soiled. He said, I had to clean it, because the next person who comes, they will be laughing at us and say, there's even an African president on this plane, and look at the toilet, you know. So these things, yes, they may be crude, they may be, you know, sound rude to talk about, you know, but I think we need to create an atmosphere where people begin to understand that there's consequences in every action that we do. If we move into unplanned settlements, you know, be prepared to live without the services, you know, and the next thing is you have a pandemic, you know. So all these are avoidable. So on top of our attitudes, I think also the rule of law plays a very important role in the fight against cholera ultimately, because it is the abuse of the rule of law that has caused people, you know, to settle anywhere and everywhere. You know, today we have markets that are mushrooming. There is no toilet, there is no bins, you know, and, you know, this market is growing. You know, where do people relieve themselves? Next thing you find that they use plastics, and you find them all over, you know. You literally have to, you know, pick in the compounds, you know. Your veranda is littered with fecal matter, you know, and you have to clean, you know. So as a society, I think we need to, first of all, accept that we are not a clean society. Yes. Abena Zambia twalikuwa tobusali. And if we do not accept that fact, we are not going to control ourselves. Because in Gatatwa Kwete Obusali, today you could not, even in Kablonga, all these areas, you find fruits are being sold next to a running, a blocked sewer, you know. As I was coming just along Nangwenya Road, you know, there is a fruit guy and there is green water there. You know that the water is stagnant, you know. And, you know, people in Mercedes will buy, you know. So it's a general attitude problem, which, you know, we have to accept that we have. It's like a disease. The moment you begin to accept that, yes, nalwalo mutwezoona, you know, then you will seek medication. I think we need medication for our attitudes as a country.
Great, well articulated there. I am looking at it and the way you have explained it, meaning you should have some deliberate programs maybe in place. Do you have any, or are we supporting any that is in terms of maybe coming up with songs that we are going to influence, just as you have rightly put it, to say you are really influencers. But are we planning on something that we can work on, or have we influenced any young or upcoming artists to that effect, so that at least we help this society? Because we know, like Michael has rightly put it, to say it is the mindset which is actually wrong. So are we coming up with something to help our community?
I think we have. There are a number of artists that have composed songs and are playing out there. There are artists that are working with council to go into these communities. So we are playing our role, but it's limiting. You know, sometimes we don't even have because we also need to protect ourselves from this disease. So sometimes as individual artists, we are limited. The spirit is there. We are willing to go, you know, to the lengths of Zambia to sensitize people on cholera. But I keep on saying it's collective. It's a collective effort that will fight this disease right now.
Okay.
Yeah, but we just know that the artists are doing their stuff.
Okay. Maybe as I come to Michael, as a way of a contribution to our society, maybe just on your personal capacities, any charity, maybe we can say you can as well contribute towards that. What is it that you're planning?
Well, first of all, for us, I think I spoke about our program on behavioral change in our small community. Yes, it's a rural setup, but you know, we believe that if you change the mindset of one person, you know, it goes a long way. You know, that person is going to narrate, you know. And, you know, today, like I said, we are happy that our long teachings are bearing fruit, because the new students that come to that school, they are taught by those that, oh, here, you don't throw litter because you will have a backlash from, you know, you'll be chewed alive, you know. So we are happy about that. Yeah. You know, we used strong methods sometimes, but they bear fruit. And also, I think a lot of artists today, we are using our social media platforms. As you know, artists have numbers on social media. I think if we put together the numbers of the people that follow artists on social media, it's literally the whole country. You know, so in going forward, I can only appeal, you know, to artists, because sometimes, you know, artists will not post stuff because they use their platforms for advertisement. That is their bread and butter, you know. So sometimes you understand, but and that is where I called on the corporate world, you know, throw your advert there and let the artist. We are only supporting betting companies, you know. People are dying, and you know, we are promoting betting. Like somebody would say, icon on. You know, let's look at our priorities. I think we can give space to this cholera fight and win it.
Great. You've mentioned of, you know, these other platforms like Facebook and all that. Maureen, what would be our best way of communicating? You know, I know Michael has mentioned of the Facebook pages and everything, because mostly we are used to this traditional PA system, you know, public address system where you hear, no, there's cholera here, no, there's this word here.
And someone jokingly said that, you know, we think it's Mabati.
Mabati, exactly. I wanted to say that actually. So now, what would be the best way on how we can communicate to our people?
Well, there's really no best way because each situation demands its own kind of message. Right. So we consider who we are dealing with at the moment. In the rural setting, it might be a one-to-one. The wider audience who are privy to have bundles and be on phones would be on Facebook, Instagram, you know, Twitter. It's wherever you are. You know, if I'm having a concert, I will be bold enough and talk about it. You know, because others might not be familiar. So there is no best way. The only way is to talk about it whenever you have a chance and hope that the message is going through. I think let's just talk about it.
And practice it, I think.
Practice it.
Yes, because when people see us practice it, you know, they'll emulate that.
Great. We are seeing quite a number of cases at Heroes. And knowing that music is therapeutic, you know, it is actually a food for the soul. How are you looking at it from the artist's point of view? Can't we organize ourselves, have some songs which will actually speak to those that are in there? Is there something that, or is there something that we can do as artists to help the situation there? Because it's quite really serious. What can we do about it?
Well, Heroes is very sensitive because I don't think they would even allow us to go in there.
Of course, not
you know. So apart from the efforts that are being made with the songs that people are recording, Heroes is quite a touchy place. I don't know how best we would be able to deal with them.
I personally think, what we can encourage, especially on the artist's part, is to not look at this pandemic just for today.
No.
You know, I think there are a number of issues that are recurring in this country, and we can begin to direct our efforts to some of those things.
To be more proactive than reactive.
Yeah, there are issues. Like I was talking to you about our song,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
It's an old song, but if you listen to it today, it even talks about, is it because of the IMF and World Bank? You know, so it was one of those prophetic things.
Yeah.
And cholera is now happening during the same time. So these things, lightning tends to strike twice at the same spot. So we must learn from that and encourage ourselves as artists, you know, to spare some space, you know, and but most importantly, Auntie Mo talked about our behavior as artists ourselves. During our one-to-one, when you go to the market, ask that lady, Mwasamba kumanja mami? You know, when a fan wants to take a selfie with you, say, do you wash your hands? Do you sanitize? You know, so these little things are going to go a long way.
Wow. I know we've talked about so many issues and how we can help our citizens, you know, more especially in terms of behavioral change. And you being influencers, maybe as we come to a close, what would be your word of appeal to the young artists, those that, you know, are looking at it? You mentioned of artists putting more of their energies on maybe betting, and, you know, they would want to be a part of it. But when it comes to social issues, what would be your word to these upcoming, even the legends as you are? What would be your word to them?
Well, for me, I can only say, you know, we are listening to PK Chala's music today because it was relevant and he had focus, and it's still relevant today. We are listening to Pongo's music because it was relevant then and it's still relevant today. Yeah. We have artists right next to me, Auntie Mo, you know. Some of you guys are just starting out. Some artists, you know, it's a short career, you know, they never go 2 years, they are done, you know. But we have testimony of artists that have survived the test of time doing relevant music, you know. I don't think Auntie Moore has to, use this, she doesn't have to strip, you know, to make anybody watch her or listen to her music. It's relevant music, it's actual music. So think of doing music that is going to stand the test of time. You will be remembered more and you will be appreciated more.
Great. Auntie Moore.
Couldn't have said it better.
Auntie Moore.
He nailed it.
He's just nailed it.
He's just nailed it.
Wow. And we can't thank you more for making an appearance on our program today. We were really grateful that you made it. I'm sure our listeners, our viewers have gotten something from what you have said. Being in the industry for more than 40 years, more than 35 years, it's really a great honor that we had you and we had to look at this very important issue. Thank you so much for appearing.
Thank you so much, Zikomo. And
Abena
please,
Zambia.
kuyola dot.
Mutapapata kusambani kumanja visoso tayani matoileti chitani yako ichinyanja chaya yolongozoka
abo bana mwansa somuleta mba mango iyo funyeni balunshabo
napapata twapapata ifi yakulya kupikeni ngatamule ikatako kupikeni. It's about you. Cholera is about, you know, we're losing people that are close to us, and it's unfortunate because cholera is related to death. Something just as simple as death. Ubusali mwe bantu ba Zambia sarapukeni. Yeah, let's be clean. Cholera is about you and me.
Great. Well said there. Thank you so very much for coming once more. Viewers, we've come to the end of today's program. It was quite an interesting one. We're looking at the role of artists in the fight against cholera. I have been your host, Faith Mutale, from the entire production team. It's goodbye. Till next time.